let's talk about carpet cleaning. We've all been there, it happens to the best of us. But it's called the wicking process when it comes to carpet cleaning. If you've ever received a phone call from a customer that seemed very pleased, but then the next morning when the carpet was fully dry, they said some of the stains just simply reappeared. It is a nightmare. Let me explain what happens and what you can do to try and avoid it, and in some cases fix it. But in some cases, there's nothing you can do, depending on how bad it is. So one of the main reasons this happens is because people clean carpets and they completely oversaturate them. And they don't do a good job with fans to make sure everything gets dried. So what happens is that the stain and the water that's embedded in the carpet backing starts to resurface and kind of climb up on those carpet fibers and resurface once it's fully dry. Just to give you a visual, just like this is creeping up to the paper towel, it does the same thing to your carpet fibers and resurfaces like a nice surprise. So a great question I always get asked is, can you actually fix this? Well, in some cases, yes. So what you're gonna have to do is go back, and what you're gonna use is an enzyme cleaner, a chemical that allows to break down the proteins in organic matter and then blot it up with a cloth, or try and dab it up a little bit with a little bit of water, not much, but that's it. If you go over this area again with the steam cleaner, odds are you're just gonna make it worse again. So what you're gonna do is you gotta, as weird as it sounds, but you gotta give up on the stain on the very bottom because it's just gonna keep resurfacing. So what you're gonna have to do with the enzyme cleaner is clean the top part of the carpet fibers. Because if you get moisture back in that stain, it's gonna resurface again. And if it doesn't fully come out of the backing of the carpet, this problem is gonna happen again and again. And the customer is gonna think you don't know what you are doing. Another way to try and avoid it is by using a proper machine to agitate, something with brushes that really digs deep into the carpet fibers, almost right to the backing of it, to try and lift up whatever is in there and vacuuming out before you have any sort of moisture, water and chemicals get down there. Another thing that you can attempt to do to fix this problem is using a solvent cleaner with a bonnet to try and lift again that top level dirt up onto the bonnet away from the carpet fibers. But if you don't usually use solvents, make sure to do proper research, because it's a different animal compared to the hot water extraction. So make sure you understand what chemicals you're using and make sure you use them properly and safely. And back to the whole point of making sure you don't oversaturate carpets, especially if it's low pile carpet, make sure to use an extraction machine that doesn't have a very high PSI. If you're firing the water in there and there's not much carpet fibers and it goes right into the backing, odds are you're gonna end up with a wicking problem, and some of these stains that the customer might not even know exist will resurface to the top.